walking in the Spirit of God in between the sun, in between the moon, in between the stars. It's all fun and games, but that doesn't mean I'm not still dying to live. It's not all sunshine and rainbows being born again, born of the Spirit. The thorn in our side is also that we're dying to live. And some days it's harder to take than others. And I know if I'm tired and I see everyone around me tired, I know the entire world's going through the same thing. It's just on what side of the spectrum you're on. This is for lions in the hunt still. I understand the old and elderly. You get to a point where it's like, especially, God, you're good. You ride out love to the end. But this is for, young people still in the prime of their lives who feel that balance of, okay, am I dying to live or am I living to die? I used to live to die and just, you're either, like I said, asleep to it or awake to it. When you're asleep to it, you don't realize you're miserable, blind, naked here, that you shouldn't be depressed half the time, that you shouldn't have so many ups and downs with your spouse and kids, that you shouldn't always be worried and depressed and anxious. You're asleep to thinking that's normal. It's not normal if you're a child of God. That's abnormal. And so basically, you're living to die. Okay, you'll die, then you'll get your rewards in some other fairy tale place that they promised you. And so you'll suffer until then. That's living to die. And some can't take it anymore because of this false world. And they hate it so much and they take things into their own hands. And it's sad because it's all just a lie from the world. Some people are just think they're wiser, and some people they've had enough and there's no truth out there, so they just do things that unfortunately people do when they don't have the truth and they've been told nothing but lies their entire life from the religion/government system that we are, currently clouded in. And when you're dying to live, then you wake up and you see the truth and you realize how false this stuff is, that you shouldn't be having to just go to work just to live and have a good weekend, that you have to suffer at work just to have some semblance of a home life that's going to, and then if you want, the world has you trapped in to think, all right, now I need a bigger house, more cars, so now I'm going to work more hours. And what's that? The only thing that can possibly do to work more hours, it's going to take you away from God. And then the priorities line up after that. All right, more hours, you get less time away from your wife and kids. Duh. And so do you think that's ever going to bring you happiness? No. But we all do it. We chase the money. That's what it means. Anything that takes you away from God. And God is what? God is love. Anything that takes you away, hey, if you're too much emotional about football games and recreational activities and it takes you away from God and your family, well then what do you think you're doing then? You think, well, eventually if I make enough money, then everything's going to be okay. If I do it, and my kids will be okay. And hey, I'm going to work and make all this money now so my kids' kids will be okay. Can you imagine the false? Just think about that for a second. Can you imagine how against the word of God that is? When it clearly says outright, don't build up wealth here for that exact reason. You're falling for the illusion. You're asleep to the word of God and the fact that God provides, not you. When you think you can do it, when you think the world can do it for you by more money, no, that just invites more problems. It's always going to invite more problems. More money, more problems. More recreational activities, more problems. And your marriage and your home life, this is science at this point. It's just science of the Bible. This is why the word of God needs to be followed to the T and not just as advice, because when you do that, then you get all the rewards. If you don't, well, then you're living to die. Meanwhile, people like me and many others who are awakening are dying to live. Dying for people to wake up and say, hey, what are we doing here? The leader of the free world is not even lucid. And the other candidate thinks it's okay just because he's rich and famous to grab women in any private part that he wants. That's what we got. And then we got World War III about to jump off over here. Because why? Ask any of these guys in Israel and their leadership. Ask them what they think about Jesus Christ and the new covenant and what he died for. Ask them about that. Ask them, because why are they in the situation that they are as the example to the world of what happens? When you're living to die and you think this is the end all be all and you don't realize that it's temporary, well, what happens? You see what's happening. World War III is about to happen because these people do not know Jesus Christ or the new covenant or any of the commandments. No one cares at all about the countless verses about do not oppress foreigners, do not oppress foreigners, do not oppress foreigners, do not oppress foreigners. These guys couldn't care about anything to do with the Bible. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and Jesus is the Word. And so if you don't follow the Word, don't oppress foreigners. That's way down the line. First one, love one another. Even pray for those who persecute you. We've gotten so far out of line into this matrix of religion and government intertwined that here we are at the end of days, and people like me are just crying in the wilderness trying to get people to wake up because I'm tired of dying to live. For the world to be awakened to the fact that, hey, we've been lied to every step of the way. And I'm not going to take it anymore. That's what I'm waiting for people to wake up. So we can talk about things of the spirit, spiritual things, and moving forward rather than all this false nonsense. False religion, false news, false media. Everything is false, false, false. And people see it, but you don't say anything about it. So that tells me you're not awake. You can't claim to be awake. When Jesus says, there's no difference between any of us. We're all the same. Jew, Gentile, it don't matter. And in fact, it doesn't matter anything about you were born in some land anywhere. You're a Jew if you're spiritually circumcised with the heart. The Old Testament confirms this too. What are we talking about here? Circumcising private parts makes you a Jewish or a Christian or anything? No, you know what that is? That's just the same as, okay, you guys are against children mutilating themselves, okay? What about spiritually? How can you be born a Jew? The kids don't know anything spiritually. So you just said, hey, they're the chosen one now. They're automatically spiritually circumcised without having to do any work, without having to do any sanctification, purification work. They can call themselves the chosen ones. Hello, people. That's what Christianity has come to today. No sanctification work. Nope, you're a Christian. You said the sinner's prayer. You're good to go. That's false doctrine. And if teachers are telling you that, they're false teachers. It's that simple. So you're the same. It's just a never-ending cycle of this stuff. That's all it is. People forget God, and then they start thinking, hey, my God is... Now they create religions and other gods, and then people think their God is better. I'm going to kill you for it. And if, hey, this is my land now, belong to this God, and if you don't like it, we're going to chop your head off. It's a never-ending cycle. From the Jews to the Catholics to the Christians, it's a never-ending cycle until you break out of it. You're not a Jew unless you're spiritually circumcised, born of the Spirit. Okay, so who are the people of Israel? Those people. So anybody who says anything else about any of this stuff, pray for Israel, and doesn't just realize this stuff. And then point number one, this is a spiritual battle. This is not against flesh and blood. Okay, you're already out. You don't follow God whatsoever. You're out. This is end of days for that kind of stuff. All this hidden stuff that we've been lied to about is being revealed now. I'm preaching common sense, gospel of Jesus Christ. And the people that do that, no weapon formed against us will prosper, and we won't pick up a sword. We won't pick up a gun. The truth speaks for itself. The truth is going to set everyone free, and it's about time for it.